Thank you, Nozomi, and thank you everybody for joining us. We are a team from the Plant Health Initiative based in Cambodia and the Philippines. And in plant health, there are several interventions that the team is either testing or considering. And it ranges from seed health into pest and disease surveillance towards integrated pest management practices on farm that are not reliant on chemicals and pesticides, but looking at biological control or other IPM practices. So these are the things that are in the heads of the researchers or of the team. But at the same time, we want to make sure we understand the potential entry points for a gender-responsive intervention as we start to plan for these interventions in Cambodia and the Philippines. I will start, but the presentation from Cambodia will be given by Navid, and then Rose will talk about the Philippines and close the presentation. So we know that women exist in rice-based systems. They play crucial roles, and it's not only in various activities for rice, but also pest management activities. And they have differing contexts, especially the role that the women play can vary, whether they are the de facto leads, whether they are co-managing, or if they are involved in the broader community as a leader or as supporting other farm management activities of the other farmers. But as women are so involved still, they are often excluded in the intervention design. And so often what happens in terms of benefits or in terms of potential impacts, they are often marginalized from this. So we would like to preempt a better or put forward a better way to engage with communities. And the framework that we are thinking through is this responsible innovation, where responsible innovation based on Whitrock and others, they put forth these 4 pillars of responsible innovation. That first, we have to anticipate and be reflexive. What is going to happen? What are the technologies? Who will be the potential people not only that will use these, but will potentially benefit from it, and not only think about the potential unintended outcomes, but also question what do we want as our intended outcomes. We also want, the other pillar is inclusiveness and diversity. And we have to think not only of farmers as homogeneous, but of women, of youth, of many varied groups in society. And even for the women, that there are many different types, different contexts where the women are situated in the communities, and how do we include as much as possible their interest, and also to ensure that there are no unintended outcomes that are negative for them. Other pillars are also around transparency and being able to respond. We know that the context is going to be dynamic, but we have to keep asking what is going on, so that we can try to harness and be able to link what we know or what we find out towards mechanisms or opportunities that would then engage these marginalized groups. So due to this framework, we are able to ask, okay, who are involved and who is responsible? What group dynamics are at play in current context? Who are making the decisions, and what type of decisions are being made? What we would like is to anticipate or to imagine if these specific plant health interventions are going to be adopted at wide scale in Cambodia or in the Philippines. How would it impact the women or the different groups that are there? So we had a study to identify gender-responsive interventions, in particular, that could benefit women. And to do this, we want to understand where the entry points are through knowing the roles and the social dynamics, not only within the farms or the household, but also at the community or groups in general. we did a gender disaggregated study, and at the base of this is the household survey, and we did this in Cambodia and the Philippines. Out of the a subset of those sites from the household survey, we also had a follow-up focus group discussions in both countries. And these are our sites. So in the Philippines, we worked in Isabela and Iloilo province and several townships in across these provinces. It's similar in Battambang. We also worked across several townships, but I mean, in Cambodia, we have 4 provinces. So Battambang, Takeo, Preveng, and Kampong Thom. So now I will hand over to Navid to present Cambodia. Navid, please.
Well, thank you, Nozomi and Dr. Rika, and thank you for your clear introductions and brief about the events, the webinar for today. And first of all, I would like to say good evening, everyone from Cambodia. My name is Navid Pans, and currently I'm working with ERI in Cambodia. And my role is I work as a researcher. I focus on social science. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to present what we uh, find out from our focus group discussion in the 2 different provinces in Cambodia that I directly involved in the focus group discussions. Well, so first I would like to share about the groups and networks in Cambodia after we spent a week in 2 provinces to identify about genders and women and men role in rice productions. As you can see here, first is agriculture cooperative, and second is a women health groups. After the focus group discussion, we identified that in each provinces, in each these 2 provinces, they have this 2 group. They're very active in the community, and when you hear about the agricultural cooperative, in that it contains many sub different groups. For example, they have a saving group. Also in the agriculture cooperative, they have a seed producer also in there, and also the um, water cooperative. They also consider it as agricultural cooperative. And for the agricultural cooperative, it play very important roles, also as a central role that women and men, they can gathering together for informations, and at the same time they can receive some technical support from the AC as well. The AC is mainly created by the farmers in the village, and with a support from the government, local authorities. And at the same time, the AC or the agricultural cooperative, they can work with different stakeholders. It can be from the government, from the NGO, and from other stakeholders that they can work together. So they just can connect themselves like to every angle without limit to specific parties or stakeholders. In that, in terms of technical support, normally during the whenever they join the training or any events prepared by the AC, it normally about the how to prepare the lands, how to choose seed varieties, how to choose how to use the inputs like fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, herbicide, pesticide. This is all that they learn from the AC, and at the same time they also can receive some market information, where to sell their rice product, where to buy those input. This is something that they learn from the AC. And if you look at the women health group, actually this is the government programs that exist in every village. But some village they have it, and some they don't have it. And the program itself is inclusively for women. It related to anything that related to women health issues, and women can approach to the group and share or get some information about the group. And at the same time, I think that this is potentially they can share about the sustainable production practice in terms of reproductions as well. This is very important for women. Could you please move to the next slide, please? Well, here we are. Now I'm going to talk about the farming activities that women involved in. As you can see here, like the top two activities that women really involved in. First is selling, selling their rice production. Second is broadcasting. In the broadcasting, when we say that women actively participate in broadcasting, even dominate the activities compared to men, when it is manual broadcasting, if it is use machine, men tend to involve more than women. Because why? Because in Cambodian society, when it is a heavy work, we normally consider it is a man work. But if it is a like not that heavy, just light one and normal one, it can involve from every party, women's and men. Like for the broadcasting, it is a manually. If it is manually, women tend to involve more than men. And for the selling, as well. And at the same time, we should consider another area like seed selections. Women also involved in that, same as men, 50%. And choosing livestock, they also involved in that, feeding and resource management as well. And yes, this is the activity beside rice productions that women involved in. Yes. The next slide, please. Okay, now we move to the time distribution in off farming activities. Okay, and as you can see here, the three top activities that women like require more time to distribute in. First is taking care of their children, and second, elders, and third, for cooking. And I would like to share uh, something that I met during the FGD, like, when you, like during the focus group discussion, and some of them, when we spend too much time, longer time, some of them they ask to leave first. Because why? Because they have to cook for their child, they have to cook for their husband and taking care of their parents, their fathers and mothers, something like that. And we can see this is women require a lot of time to contribute in these three areas: cooking, taking care, their children's and elderlies. So here, what we discuss is that when we design of outreach or training, we should consider the timing period that really specific, like minimum time that really work for women, not that long, but in a specific time that they can manage their activity. Yes, this is very important. So yes, could you please move to the next slide? Okay, now we move to the decision making. Okay, as you see here in the charts, the majority of the activities, both farming and off-farming activities, men and women, they tend to like have the share percentage in terms of decision making. And one thing that women really dominate is the income management. Yes, in terms of income management, I can share something about a Cambodian mindset, or it related to Cambodian culture as well. In terms of income management, women, it seem like she really powerful in that. They play a very key role. Yes, like she has the ability or skill in what we call bargaining. For example, when you sell your rice productions, rice, she has the skill that asks to increase the price. When they buy something like machinery or something like that, she can bargain or negotiate for discount. This is the ability that she has. And also in a small business as well, women do really good in this area. But when it comes to farming asset management, men play more role in that. Yes. Okay. Okay, move to next slide, please. This is the sustainable pest management practice. Okay, so here, actually in Cambodia, we really strong rely on the chemical uh, control for pesticides. But in terms of who know the best about the sustainable practice, women is like relative low than men if we compare between them. And that's why we need to explore more about a biological control as option for women as well. Yes. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we talk about the pest management knowledge. And this is also another constraint for women. And women in Cambodia, they still have very limit in terms of knowledge related to pest and disease identifications, as you see on the graph. Like they make correct identifications below than 50%. Yes, compared to men, 60%. Thank you. Could you please move to the next slide? Okay, reaching out women with informations. So now we try to compare between women that who got married and other women that separate, a single or widow, and we see the a really difference in terms of when they receive information from the our mobile phones. Like actually in the mobile phone there are a lot of digital informations available there, but women still take really least advantage from that. As you see, for the married women, only 64% compared to men, 79%, 15% difference from the men. And for the others, like separated single or widow women, they only 54%. We see some constraint there. Yes. And this is also something that we should consider for interventions in the future. Okay, could you okay. Okay, thank you that and this is all about Cambodia. So I would like to give the floor to Rose. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rika and Navid. Good evening, Nozomi and everyone. So I'm Mary Rose San Valentin, a researcher, social science, and directly involved in the data collection activities in the Philippines. So it is a pleasure to welcome you to tonight's presentation. So today we want to share with you the results of our household surveys and the focus group discussions from the two provinces we have selected. Okay, so we will start in terms of group dynamics. So as we can see in the slide, although many farmers join the cooperatives or associations, there are more women that are members of credit cooperative and women's group and other types of associations or organizations. It is also important to harness these groups to be able to reach women and engage them with plant health interventions. Okay, so more importantly, there on the right side, as you can see, there is a RSBSA, which stands for the Registry System for Basic Sector in Agriculture. So this registry system is needed as a policy. Although it's voluntary, it is important to enable the women to access this so that they can benefit from the government programs, because the government programs includes distribution of inputs, financial assistance, insurance, and other interventions. Next slide, please. So we can see here the decision making for on-farm activities. When we look at the decision making, we can see that men decides more around the crop activities, but participation rates of women are substantial, right? So especially in crop choice, seed, harvesting, and post-harvest operations. Hiring of farm laborers, which is at the bottom, and record keeping. So if you look at more having men and women together in our FGD, which is on the next slide. Okay, thank you. We can see here that female decides more in the management of finances, selling and the home consumption harvested selling and home consumption of harvested grains, the adoption of new pest management methods, and the choice of varieties. Next slide, please. Okay. So, on the decisions on pest management, which are battled by female rice farmers, this is based on our FGD. It is important where women are best handling for pest management, right? So where it requires, as you can see, we mentioned here the pest management that requires minimal physical effort. So what are these? The manual weeding, the light chemicals, the snail picking, and the adherence to pesticide labels. We also included the farm inputs and the hiring of farm laborers. Okay, and then the decisions in finances and the adoption of new technologies, which is for example, the use of biological control agents and pest surveillance. So it is better to engage women on this. So next slide, please. Thank you. So looking at the decision making earlier, now we are looking at the operations. So who implement this task? So women, as you can see in the slide, women are not so much in pest management, but they are participating. Okay, so they are engaged in certain operations. We can see it in the transplanting of seedlings, where we can see that it can be done exclusively by female, or female do more. And then we can also see the women in purchase of seeds, manual hand weeding, replanting of missing yields, the sale of harvest, and pesticide storage and disposal. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the technologies and tools, so awareness of men and women, we can see here that women, they already have level of awareness and involvement. As you can see in the practices of seed selection, in the best management practices, and other technologies. These areas can serve as entry points to introduce additional technologies. On the right side, we can see the awareness of pest surveillance systems. So, field visits by LGU technicians, MAO, which is the Municipal Agricultural Office, it shows highest awareness among females. So, field visits are critical for pest surveillance, yet women may have access to these visits. Next slide, please. For the level of knowledge, we can see here that women, they have already the knowledge, but they need more knowledge outreach to enable better pest identification and surveillance. So we have these examples of stem borers, crickets, bacterial blights, brown spots, and wasps for the insect pests and diseases. For the transboundary pests, we have the stem borer, plant brown hopper, leaf blast, rice black bug, and brown spot. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the preference to access information or capacity building resources and opportunities. As you can see, the graph is arranged in descending order according to the level of access available to female farmers. So in general, female farmers are highly engaged in training and educational opportunities. So this indicates strong motivation to enhance the knowledge and skills of women in rice farming. And then female farmers, they have this a higher level of education than male farmers because who often choose to earn income through rice farming even at an early age rather than pursuing formal education. So considering this that women very limited engagement with extension workers, as we can see at the bottom of the chart, so we can say that the government should develop gender responsive services to improve women's engagement with government extension workers. On the right side, we can see the channels on how we can extend this access to the farmers. Okay, so we can see that the LGUs or technicians, the MAO, they are the primary source of pest surveillance information. So we need to strengthen these LGUs and field technician to support the women. And then we can also see that we need to leverage the community-based information channels. What are these? These are the radio, the public, other systems to deliver women-specific programs at times when they are available. Next slide, please. So we asked our respondents from the FGD how they envision the future of rice farming. So they can see it as there will be a technological advancements, whether these drones, digital tools and apps will be introduced, and there will be a reduction in the labor dependency. And then the infrastructures will be improved. There will be better irrigation systems, and then the government subsidies will be also be improved. The gender roles and equality, so there will be an equal access to trainings, and then women will be more empowered. And then there will also be an involvement of youth, so there will be an increasing youth participation. And then for the knowledge and decision making, maybe pest management will be more advanced and better trainings and awareness for both men and women. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we ask our respondents from the FGDs how they envision the future of their sons and daughters. So both of the male and female farmers, they want to teach their sons the various operations involved in rice farming to prepare them for managing the fields when the parents retire. However, they do not want their sons to participate in the manual labor commonly associated with rice farming. Instead, they want their sons to become farm managers, to learn more rice farming technologies, and operate advanced machines and equipments. Same with the both of male and female farmers, they prefer that their daughters do not actively participate in rice farming. Why? They believe that daughters should prioritize higher education to pursue professional careers. Even eventually, they will establish their own families. So should they choose to participate in rice farming, daughters will be encouraged to use modern farming technologies and not engage in field work. So there will be advancement. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what are the key insights? So in conclusion, for gender-responsive plant health innovations, we look into the incentives derived from the collectives, groups, and networks, the activities and involvements of both men and women, farmers in rice farming, and the decision-making cost distribution in farming or production activities. Next slide, please. Okay, so there is a need for a co-design for women. So this will be to participate more of the women in the innovations. Slide, please. So way forward with gender responsive entry points. So these are the considerations for responsible innovation for plant health in Cambodia and the Philippines. So that in terms of technology development, there is a scope to engage women in resistant variety selection, seed treatment, biological control, and weed management. And they can inform decisions on purchasing, record keeping, hiring of labor. Women are interested in knowledge and capacity for pest management, tasks that are not physically intensive. So for the digital tools, to understand and balance the access constraint of women. And for the incentives of group dynamics, we have to harness women's groups, health groups, and insurance groups, and to ensure women's participation in government support mechanisms. For the knowledge outreach, we need to consider their preference in media or channel for information and training. And anticipating the future scenarios, they will be more interested in equity, youth involvement, knowledge access, technology advancements. Next slide, please. So that's all for tonight, and we thank you, and we want to say thank you and Merry Christmas to all.